Hello, and thank you for joining us for Nutanix Security Week. My name is Mike Penrod. I'm a Senior Alliances Marketing Manager here at Nutanix. Today we'll be talking in depth on the latest security advancements that have been engineered into the Nutanix Enterprise Cloud Platform. And we'll be explaining how these advancements can be leveraged to build the most secure environments for your applications and data. Also, Nutanix has an ecosystem of alliance partners who extend the Nutanix security story. In the next 2 days, we'll be featuring two of them, VArmour, who will be sharing 3 approaches for securing data at rest, and VArmour with 5 steps for securing modern infrastructure. You can register for those webinars by using the links in the attachment section below. In that same attachment section, also be sure to check out our recently released report on building secure platforms and services with the Nutanix Enterprise Cloud. With that, we'll jump into the presentation. Presenting for Nutanix today will be Rohit Goyal from the Nutanix PMM team. Rohit, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for that, Mike. My name is Rohit Goyal. I'm a product marketing manager here at Nutanix. I come from the enterprise IT side where I worked as a security architect for Fidelity Investments. One thing you must know about Nutanix is that we take security seriously here, just like we did at Fidelity. We really don't make any compromises. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through what I mean when we say we have a security-first design. And then we'll highlight a couple ecosystem partners and really expand that secure design. Over the next couple days, we'll have these partners dive deep into their technology and how the products together add superior value. Let's get started. First, let's look at the trends in the industry. Businesses want IT capabilities that allow them to test new business models and roll out new services quickly. Cloud services, both public and private, really offer enterprises a new consumption model for IT resources. Businesses are basically able to buy and use just the resources they need and only when they need it. They're able to spin up infrastructure and plan resources on demand with a single click. Now you can build, test, and deploy applications easily. Building blocks such as databases, analytics platforms, message queues are all available to build new applications with no wait. This really drastically reduces the time to build and roll out applications. With the cloud, really, IT admins don't have to spend time deploying and managing or refreshing infrastructure, hardware, or software. The cloud really offers new capabilities and features at a regular cadence. But, let's understand what the businesses want. And what we're seeing is that they want from the public cloud are fractional consumption models and pay-as-you-grow economics. Really infrastructure and platform resources that are on demand to really give you that agility and flexibility as your needs change. All with a lower operational overhead. So now you're not taking additional man hours to build out the infrastructure. You really get that continuous innovation to the platform. Even in terms of security, businesses are starting to trust public cloud service providers with managing infrastructure security. They're able to focus on innovation and services without committing resources to maintain security with on-prem infrastructure. But the real problem is they also want the balance between owning and renting. They want to lower their costs, especially when workloads change. Another factor is governance. There's really strict data governance. Do you know where your data really is? And quick access to that data when you need it. It's really meeting those tailored SLAs and mission critical applications. Flexibility and choice for those platforms. Being able to pick the public or private infrastructure that best meets the needs your business requires. So at the end of the day, they want simplicity and fractional consumption of the public cloud. But they also want control over performance, location of data services, and choice of platform. This is really what the enterprise cloud delivers. When you're building an enterprise cloud, you really have to think about 5 key pillars to it. There's the full stack infrastructure and platform services. There's the zero-click operations. And in terms of zero-click, what allows you to build that infrastructure without having to manually intervene when you're building it out? You want instant and elastic consumption. This means that you're not over-provisioning. You're buying things when you need them, when your business demands it. You want that integrated security and control. You want the ability to be efficient with your security. Add that automation and that self-healing so you don't need the security expertise on your team. You can reduce a lot of that overhead. And then you want that application mobility. Eliminate that infrastructure lock-in. Really remove it from your vocabulary. At the end of the day, you should be able to be as flexible as your infrastructure is. What we're going to do now is we're going to dive a little bit more into the security aspect of this. So security in the enterprise data center begins with a robust infrastructure platform. But maintaining security with traditional infrastructure environments is challenging for a number of reasons. In the legacy 3-tier infrastructure stack, you have products from several vendors, each with a narrow, fragmented view of security. The storage vendor thinks about just storage security, while the virtualization vendor really looks only at the virtualization portion. A lot of the security issues we see today happen because of misconfigurations between the products and from the different vendors. Really validating and maintaining a security baseline, for example, through software upgrades is time-consuming and often involves error-prone manual processes that take away from innovation and productivity. Security really shouldn't be an afterthought anymore. It shouldn't really be a bigger overhead for businesses to maintain. Nutanix takes it in a comprehensive approach. It's really a defense in-depth approach to security, and it covers the entire infrastructure cycle, from how the product is built to how it's deployed and managed. Nutanix's holistic approach to security covers 3 key pillars. It's really the platform, automation, and ecosystem. With the Security Development Lifecycle, security is incorporated into the product development from the start, really avoiding difficult trade-offs between security and performance or features. For example, research and development teams work together to fully understand the code in the product, whether it's really built in-house or inherited from dependencies. Strict tests for common vulnerabilities and exposures, or known as CVEs, are built into the product QA process, and updates are handled through known CVEs through scheduled minor release cycles. What does this do for you? It really minimizes that zero-day risk without slowing down product evolution. Our view of security covers the entire infrastructure stack, from storage all the way through virtualization. Then you've got automation. Nutanix publishes custom security baseline documents called Security Technical Implementation Guides, STIGs for short. These guides cover the entire infrastructure stack and prescribe steps to secure deployment in the field. These STIGs are published in machine-readable format, allowing automated validation and ongoing monitoring of the security baseline for compliance reasons. Nutanix has implemented Security Configuration Management Automation. That's SCMA for short. What this really does is it efficiently checks over 800 security entities in the Nutanix STIGs. These cover both storage and built-in virtualization. Nutanix automatically reports log inconsistencies and reverts them back to that baseline. With SCMA, systems can self-heal from any deviation and remain in compliance. It's easy to tune. All you have to do is set it hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly at an interval basis. And then looking at the ecosystem partners, there's no product that sits alone when you're talking about security. It really can't be an island. Nutanix takes it as a holistic approach to delivering comprehensive security through a broad partner ecosystem to meet diverse security needs. This includes network security, endpoint security, and data security. Our approach to security is comprehensive, and it truly differentiated in the industry. Nutanix systems meet the broad set of certification requirements to ensure compliance with the strictest standards. One thing that we're going to do here is that we'll dive deeper into the security ecosystem partners with Formetric and VArmour. You'll learn a lot more about those in the next couple days, but we'll give you a highlight towards the end of this presentation. So let's talk a little bit about the Security Development Lifecycle. The Nutanix Security Development Lifecycle, or SecDL, it's really a comprehensive cross-functional process run by Nutanix security engineers and research teams. We call that NCERT at Nutanix. And they provide a defense in depth and hardened by default posture of our product for GA releases. The SecDL is not a bolt-on to an existing software development process. The entire process was redesigned to allow security development at every stage of the development process. From the first day the code is written to the last day of development. Security researchers and developers are both recommending changes to the code. And they sit there and they understand how to harden every service across the layers. The customer is no longer the guinea pig. We really have to think about that, right? Remove the customer from the equation when you're testing this out. Give them the final product. Nutanix delivers the security baseline in a public form, STIG. Goes into, the QA process too. And that QA process tests, the operations of it, tests the scalability of it, and make sure that it's supported. And that when the customer gets it, it is GA in a fashion where they're not testing it. No more STIG scripts, really, error-prone hardening guides or spreadsheets. And no more high expenditures on OpEx costs. You really can get these systems ready for production right out of the box. So if you think about that for a minute, that's really powerful. You take the Nutanix product out of the box, it's been hardened for you, and it's ready for production. You don't have to sit there and apply anything to get it hardened. What does this do? Let's think about that for a second. This is really a culture thing, something around speed and innovation. What I mean by culture is that security is Nutanix's DNA, and it's there from day one, and it's going to be there forever. From the top down, the inclusion and influence of the NCERT team makes security foundational to what we're offering. And in terms of speed, because of our agile development process, our ability to enhance and maintain our solution to meet security enhancements and patching and short minor release cadence really significantly reduces zero-day threats. And in terms of innovation, both our research and QA automation allows us to course correct, change priorities, and respond to new threats, and vigorously test and scan for any possible regressions to the posture of our security baseline. Nutanix is fully compatible with Common Criteria, EAL2, International Specifications and Guidelines for Evaluating Information Security Products, FIPS 140-2, NIST SP 800-131A, which really gives you the ability to use stronger cryptographic keys and more robust algorithms, NSA Suite B support, RSA 2048 elliptic curve, DSA 256 Suite B to secret, EC DSA 384 Suite B to top secret, Section 508 VPAT. And what it does is it really helps to evaluate the product or service to adhere to these Section 508 accessibility standards. And then on top of that, we have TAA compliant. And in terms of cryptography, we enabled kernel enforced FIPS mode on the CVM. We're using the NIST high strength cryptography standard for our benchmark of the GA design. All the hashes, signature algorithms, and message authentication codes use SHA-512 by default. We really moved to a TLS-only design. We provide 3 options for key generations for customer-supplied certificates. You can use RSA 2048-bit keys, elliptic curve DSA 256-bit keys, and elliptic curve DSA 384-bit keys for NSA Suite B to top secret support. So let's talk a little bit about platform and self-encrypting drive technology. What is it? Self-encrypting drives for data at rest protection. Really what it does is allows you to keep your data encrypted on the platform without manual intervention. This is all done at the hardware level. And it has multiple key management partners that we include: VArmour, which you'll learn a lot more about in the coming days, SafeNet, and IBM. It also includes FIPS 140-2 Level 2 validated protection. In terms of use cases, where do you really see it? So it's really good for safety in terms of drive or node theft. So if somebody walks into your data center and decides to pull one of your drives, know that it's encrypted, and without it being plugged into the system and accessing these keys, there's no way for someone to get that data. So it really reduces somebody's ability to steal that data. You can securely destroy access to data on the disk by removing the symmetric key. You can easily rotate passwords really without impacting the data. So you don't have to sit there and re-encrypt the entire set of data. Some of the other benefits: it helps you with complying with regulatory technical requirements, whether it be HIPAA, PCI DSS, or SOX, for data at rest encryption. It really helps you to future-proof. Use open standards for protocols. It uses KMIP to connect to these key management providers. In terms of HIPAA capable, one thing to keep in mind are the benefits. It reduces those zero-day threats, right? The platform does that in itself, but then on top of it, the self-encrypting drives help with keeping that data safe. In terms of validated patch management, prevention from lost or stolen physical drives, really helps you meet those physical safeguards in HIPAA. In terms of technical safeguards, it helps you with audit logs through centralized logging. In terms of technical policies, you've got built-in DR to ensure data integrity with one-click DR. In terms of PCI and DSS, a little bit deeper than what we're talking about, think about the payment card industry and think about how you secure that whole end-to-end lifecycle. Each part of the infrastructure stack must be hardened. Data security is a standard anywhere in the credit card processing system. So if you think about benefits there, it's the same. You really have to think about theft of that data and protecting it. So that FIPS 140-2 really comes into play there. You want to meet those security standards and really reduce the attack surface. So use features like cluster lockdown. In terms of improving employee productivity through automated validation and self-healing, really leverage the SCMA process that Nutanix has built into the platform. and the STIGs that Nutanix builds into the platform. We'll get into the STIGs a little bit more in a couple slides, but keep in mind how they're going to help you. Let's dive a little bit into two-factor authentication so you can understand how that works. So by default, Nutanix builds in two-factor authentication into the product. In terms of accessing Prism through a consumer-grade design, it's very easy. It's elegant and simple and intuitive. You can manage your end-to-end entire infrastructure from Prism. With great benefit, you have to be very secure with it. You want to make sure that you're using things like two-factor authentication for administrators, and Prism has that built into it. You want to make sure that you have a combination of client certificates or username and password. And for some of our DoD or federal customers, they've asked us to include ability to use CAC cards, common access cards. And we've done that. We've gone ahead and implemented that. So now you can take your CAC card, walk up to like a USB reader, swipe it, and with a PIN, enter that information in, and you'll get logged into Prism. You won't have to enter a username and password. In terms of cluster lockdown, you have the ability to basically disable username and password shell logons and leverage non-repudiated SSH keys. What you can do with these keys is you can hand them out to your employees who require access to your infrastructure. And then you can monitor them through the logging process. What this will do is it'll give you finer grained ability to see who's interacting with your infrastructure. So let's switch gears here a little bit and talk a little bit about automated validation and self-hardening. Let's walk through the life cycle of the non-Nutanix setup, and then we'll walk through Nutanix. So with non-Nutanix, you start with typically a server, some sort of storage networking, and then a SAN or a NAS. And that ticker starts at that point, right? You've already procured the equipment. Now you're going to install it. So the installation process takes time. You've got to allocate enough space for multiple different vendors' equipment. And then you've got to walk through the hardening guides. So you have to work with your server vendor and get those hardening guides. And then you've got to work with your networking vendor and get their guides. And then you have to get with your SAN vendor or NAS vendor and get their guides. That whole process is time consuming and it's error prone, because when you turn on security features from one vendor to the next, what you'll realize is that sometimes this breaks and your application suffers in the end. And what you want to do is reduce that, because you don't want to spend the time in terms of your application being not available. And once you have it hardened, then you walk through and you baseline that. And then you get to your accreditation process. From there on, you're months down the road. With the Nutanix setup, you basically get the box hardened on day one, like we talked about with the Security Development Lifecycle. It's an iterative process, and the box is always hardened every time new software is released. You install it, and you're instantly getting your accreditation. Now you're getting it in days. And what does that do for you? Basically, it gives you that machine human readable security documents. So we can give you those. We can give you them in PDF form, or we can give you them in XCCDF form. And that gives you that continuous compliance check. It gives you that built-in hardening guide. And now you can work on making your applications work out of the box without having to go and talk to 5 different vendors to get it up and running. And typically what happens when you do that is you'll end up relaxing security policies across your infrastructure with so many different vendors. With the Nutanix way, you don't have to worry about that. It's already hardened out of the box. So let's dive a little bit into the STIGs. Since 1988, DISA has played a critical role in enhancing security postures of DoD security systems by providing these STIGs, Security Technical Implementation Guides. The STIGs contain technical guidance to lock down information systems and software that otherwise might be vulnerable to malicious computer attack. These guides are typically a manual process for locking down your system. What we have to do is make sure we make them machine readable, and we really have to automate this for you. We simply simplify checking of the security postures. Since the STIGs are automated, our system continually monitors for inadvertent or malicious changes. We can significantly reduce this accreditation process that we talked about in the previous slide. There are two formal methods used in the US to document security baseline. The NIST SP 853 Security and Privacy Controls for Federal Information Systems and Organizations. That's one of them. The other one is the DoD Information Systems Agency Security Technical Implementation Guide, STIGs. The UNCERT team here at Nutanix prefers the STIG format for a bunch of reasons. The XCCDF XML format is really highly efficient for conversion from a manual process to machine automation. Designed specifically to meet security content automation protocol standards. It's extensible for machine consumption for third-party apps that have probes to identify deficiencies in security configuration. It supports transition to DoD DIARM risk management framework for continuous monitoring. So why are our STIGs really that different? Because all of the check and fix content, the XML tags are written in single executable code. Really, there's no manual inspection and time-consuming user interpretation. We check in the fixed code into our code base, supporting the documented baseline and providing simple remediation in the event of a code regression. Since our 4.6 release, we've had 5 STIGs built into the Acropolis design. We've got an AHV STIG, which is our Nutanix Acropolis Hypervisor STIG, AOS STIG, which is our operating system. We've got the Prism Web Server STIG, and then we've got the Prism Reverse Proxy STIG, and the JRE8 STIG. In terms of our security ecosystem partners, we've got built-in host security, right, with hardening, SecDL. And then in terms of endpoint security, we work with several folks around antivirus and anti-malware. And in terms of data security, we're going to dive deeper into VARmour. And then in terms of network security, we're going to dive deeper into VArmour. But we've got a holistic design here. We work with several partners. And at Nutanix, we understand that security doesn't stop at our infrastructure. It goes beyond that stack. And that we need to help secure the full infrastructure stack. And we need to work with these partners to really get that validation of the integration. We need security at every layer. And we really need to simplify the support so that when you call, you've got a validated design, and that Nutanix and the partners will stand by each other. Let's dive a little bit into VArmour here. In terms of VArmour, Nutanix and VArmour are really both built on an architecture that's 100% software defined, distributing all the data and security and operational resources for web scale Security at every layer. Security is built into the Nutanix and VArmour stack, from the platform to the workload. VArmour delivers application level visibility and control on top of Nutanix's hardened and self-healing platform. Nutanix STIGs are built in, and they deliver a highly secure environment for even the most sensitive workloads. You can securely share infrastructure. Microsegmentation from VArmour coupled with compute and storage from Nutanix allows enterprises to run multiple critical applications on a single platform. Applications are independent of the underlying hypervisor or hardware and can easily scale out to support performance demands while maintaining necessary security requirements. What it really does is it gives you that fully distributed firewall, helping you manage that east to west traffic, so as a VM moves, those policies stay with it. In terms of VArmetric, what this does is it allows you to basically provide strong data protection by encrypting user and application data at levels of FIPS 140-2 level 2 compliance. Data at rest encryption is delivered through self-encrypting drive technology that is factory installed in Nutanix Acropolis. VArmetric's Data Security Manager provides FIPS certified robust management and role separation to meet most security requirements. The non-disruptive encryption solution provides comprehensive, cost-effective, and data security for companies that have the most stringent data protection regulations, covering the management of personally identifiable information and other sensitive information. So partnering with these guys really sets us apart. So what's next? If you want to learn a little bit more about what we've talked about in this webinar today, you can go ahead and download our Nutanix security white paper. We've got the URL right there. And then you should take Nutanix software for a drive. It's easy. You just go to nutanix.com/test drive. And within a matter of minutes, you get a private instance for a couple hours at no cost to you. You don't even have to set it up. It's running in the cloud. And then if you want a deeper dive, you can schedule a demo. Just go to nutanix.com/demo and we'll walk you through how to make your infrastructure a lot easier. Thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully you learned something and see some value in what Nutanix provides in terms of the security first design approach.
Great. Thank you so much, Rohit, for today's presentation. Wanted to answer a few questions that came in. Someone asked about pricing. They said, do you have to pay an additional license or fee to access the Nutanix security features?
And no, you don't. All of this is built into the product. In terms of the STIGs, the automation, the self-healing, all of this is all built into the product. And every customer has access to this today. Whether you're a federal customer, you're a healthcare customer, you're a financial customer, it doesn't matter. You get access to all of this built into the platform.
Thanks, Rohit. And another question that came in, they said, are self-encrypting drives available on all the Nutanix platforms?
So we've got these self-encrypting drive technologies for all our platforms. You can get into any of them in terms of ordering self-encrypting drives. It's easy as going through our sizer and selecting those drives and making sure that you get them when you build out your infrastructure. If that's one of your requirements, you should definitely look at the technology because we do it a little bit differently. We work with these external key management providers and they allow you to basically handle the keys for your larger enterprise infrastructure. And then we do all of the encryption and in terms of offloading that into the hardware. So you really don't get the performance impacts there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Rohit, for your time, for the great presentation going in depth on security on the Nutanix platform. I want to remind everybody to check out the attachment section for the links that Rohit mentioned, also to register for the webinars that we have from our partners, Vormetric and VArmour. Again, thanks everybody, and talk to you soon.